Oh my freaking goodness, dude. I hate wrestling so much. I hate WWE. I hate AEW. I hate New Japan. I hate every single promotion out there. None of these companies know how to do anything. I am the only person around here that seems like they know what I'm talking about in terms of wrestling, even though people have been doing this for decades. I'm the one who knows everything. You freaking know what? Screw it. I hate wrestling as a whole. No, all of wrestling shouldn't exist and I should start a company. Who am I? I'm Twitter. Ever since starting this channel, one of the first topics I wanted to talk about the most was the fans and how we actually engage with this product. Because wrestling fans are so different from anything else out there. There's fans of things like movie franchises or show franchises, but the thing that sets wrestling fans apart from really anything else that's out there is wrestling fans are heavily invested in things like backstage politics, what's going on in the creative room, what wrestler acts a certain way backstage, and if a wrestling show is bad, it's not the performers who are getting the critiques, it is the people running the show backstage that's getting the critiques. There's not really many things out there that are kind of like that. Like if you watch a movie or watch a show, you're just invested in the base, the thing you see right in front of you. And if it's bad, it's like a 50-50 chance if you criticize either the actors or the people who write it. But literally in wrestling, it's like 80% of the time the criticism is going to the people running the show backstage, and most of the time rightly so. And another thing is that wrestling has just been going on for so long and it doesn't have an actual ending like a television show. Stories are continuing weekly and building, and some are even years long. So when decisions happen that, you know, maybe a casual fan might see and go, okay, that guy won, that's no big deal. A hardcore fan in the background might be, you know, screaming at the top of it. We shouldn't scream at the top of our lungs. That's to a point where we might need to take a step back. But a hardcore fan might, you know, disagree with the decision and get really upset because he's seen a story for years on years build out, and like maybe a result of the match or a turn in the story they took might have just not made sense whatsoever to the years-long build. And us fans, we get attached to things like someone's career or if someone's gonna get pushed or not. Things like that are very important to us wrestling fans. It is not just the base, okay, winner, loser. It is like, okay, what are the dynamics going to be after this person wins or loses? What do they go from here? Certain things might have happened in the past where it makes sense or doesn't make sense for that particular wrestler to win, and it might make sense or not make sense for where we thought the story was going to go in the future. There's just so many like things people can get like angry at and frustrated with. It's really, when you take a step back and look at it, it's really impressive when a company is able to put on a good product for, you know, either months or years at a time, because there are so many things that can go wrong. You have to nail every single detail. Maybe not every single detail, but a lot of the details you have to nail for, you know, the ship to smooth sail. That is a tongue twister and a half. One of the things I also have to say is wrestling just as a whole kind of trains the fans to critique everything, because everything from the wrestling to the promo to the commentary to how the show looks, it is all emotional. It is all emotionally invested. So we kind of watch this product and we're just kind of trained over, you know, the coming years that we need to be heavily invested in that. So we're kind of just like trained over the years to really actually care and look at it from a logical standpoint of the story rather than the actual in-ring match and the dynamics of the match. Let's say Gunther and Rey Mysterio have a feud. If you are a casual wrestling fan, yes, you will say it makes sense for Gunther to win this match because obviously in every dynamic except maybe speed, Gunther outpowers hardcore Rey Mysterio. But if a hardcore fan turns around and say, no, that is stupid, you're an idiot, I will freaking murder you if you say that crap again. A hardcore wrestling fan will say that, I swear. But if a hardcore fan turns around and says, okay, that actually doesn't make sense because the story they've been telling is Rey Mysterio being the underdog, there's just two sides of that, where it's like a casual and like a hardcore fan. They're seeing two different sides of this. There's just so many layers to things where if like a casual fan looks at it from one layer, they might have the complete opposite opinion on who should win the match from like a hardcore fan who's been keeping up with stories for months. And if Gunther wins the match, but they're building up for Rey Mysterio to win the match and it makes sense for him to win the match, I can see why somebody would complain during that moment. But on the other side, I can see why, you know, a casual fan is watching and they're like, you are way overreacting. And most of the time, you know, sometimes, a lot of the time it is overreacting. I'm not gonna lie. My goodness, have you been on X? And I feel like people today complain a lot more is because, you know, the modern wrestling fan is consuming wrestling so different from even 10 years ago. Social media has just gone, you know, haywire, and it's bigger than it's ever been. You got things like clips, also things like ratings talks and freaking viewership numbers, and the podcasts and all the dirt sheets have been around for a long time. I don't think we need to include that. People have been talking about that since, you know, before I was even conceived. But yeah, there's things like that, and also on top of things like reaction channels and Twitter Discord, it's things like that where you can just view any of this from literally, there's 500 different angles you can view any of this from, and there's 500 different opinions after that you can come up with. You know, it easily starts a war between people, and I don't know if it's fair to actually critique if these people are coming from a good place of complaining, because you can see one person's opinion and see like a 5-second clip and, you know, just agree with that opinion and just never have your own opinion about anything, which is kind of what it's turning into. A lot of people have the opinion of who they like to watch, and, you know, if that guy says he doesn't like that company, that fan of that guy says he won't like the company as well. There's a lot of that. But when somebody does have their own opinion and most people might disagree with that opinion, it's that person in the wrong for having that opinion, and it's said as him complaining. Obviously, it depends on what that person is talking about. If he goes on to say WWE sucks, AEW is the best company that has ever been around. Let's say that person says that, right? He's complaining about something. He's complaining about WWE and then giving all the literally slobbering on it. But let's say that guy says that and the comments are cooking him. Is he wrong for, you know, complaining about the WWE product and then throwing AEW in the spotlight? I would say if that's all it was, yes, because you are giving nothing else about why that is. Well, I would agree with that in the moment that yes, AEW is better than WWE. I'm not slobbering on their knob all day, and I have seen people on Twitter slob on knobs a lot. That is, you know, there's different ways that can be taken, and every single way would be true. I have seen a lot of things on Twitter, man. I don't even wish my worst enemy to see the things I have been through. So there's also the dynamics of where you're getting your information from and where you're seeing the wrestling from. Oh my goodness, I hit my TV. I'm sorry, baby. Because we live in an era now where, yes, the main way to still consume wrestling is by watching the live television shows, but it's slowly becoming this thing where people are not everybody is viewing wrestling like that anymore. People are watching clips, people are watching TikToks, they're watching the highlights on YouTube. WWE's gotten so bad, I just have to watch the highlights on YouTube now. That's not for this video. Please don't, if someone's mad at me, I just panicked for no reason. What the hell? One thing I will say though is I will say people complain way too much when there is a story and people think it is set in stone and they throw a swerve in there and it throws the entire thing off, and then a lot of people are just quick to complain about how the entire story is ruined and how the way I thought of it was better and you should have been on the main course, even though you have no idea what they're gonna do now. Unless it's like the end result and like everybody's in agreement that, like, you know, this end result is like doesn't make sense. I'm talking about when you are in the middle of a storyline and they throw a swerve in there, and now they're going in a completely different direction where you don't know what's going to happen anymore. I really enjoy that stuff, but I've seen a ton of people online just complain when a swerve is thrown in there and their predictions that they made in the past on their Twitter, they suddenly look like an idiot. I feel like that's the main reason some people kind of complain, because you know they were just dead wrong, and people nowadays cannot be wrong for anything. Holy my goodness. But a lot of fans, including myself, I am guilty of this as well, think I have the better storyline in my head and I have the better outcome in my head. But you know, sometimes when it's all said and done, I was completely wrong and their way was completely better, and compared to that, my idea was complete dog crap. So in that regard, I think it is just unjustified really to kind of complain in the middle of things like storylines. It's just there's so much of that now, and that's kind of my main problem with it. And people complaining is a lot of people complain during a storyline rather than when one either kicks off and you know it's two wrestlers they don't care about. That's fine, that's your opinion. Or the storyline ends and you're like, well, what the hell, why did it, you know, I feel like I genuinely had a better way of booking it. I feel like then you'd be justified for complaining, unless your ego is huge and your way was actually dog crap. Then you know, I don't, you know, just get out of here, man. But it's in the middle of the storyline where I have kind of complaints about, unless it's a person who has a track record of just not doing good within certain types of storylines, or like a track record of someone being a champion and you know they're champion again, and you know the track record says they're not really a good champion. So I can see where people come from that. But it's just when you are in the middle of a storyline and you're complaining about where it's going when you don't even know what the end result is going to be, that is just crazy to me. I don't understand. People just need something to complain about, I guess. So the most important part of this video though is that social media just amplifies the negativity. It is not as much as we think it is. Even sometimes I go on Twitter, Instagram all the time. My feed is sometimes nothing but either hate for a company or hate for a wrestler or showing someone messing up or laughing at someone. The reason why you see that a ton is because these posts, they are manufactured in a way where it stirs people's emotions up. So there's naturally going to be things like more comments because people are arguing, quote retweets if someone agrees with it, and people, they want to show someone they disagree with and be like, yeah, here you go, asshole, or something that's just controversial. That will generate more comments as well. So that's just kind of a lot of pages are just kind of, you know, clip farming and, you know, just trying to engagement bait people. That is why we see so much complaining online, and people say the IWC does nothing but complain. No, that is just not the truth. That is just not the reality of it. Social media amplifies literally anything. The main thing that I will point to when saying this is the Jey Uso hate. I am not really a Jey Uso fan myself, but you go online and you see people do not like Jey Uso. You will look at that and see, well, I guess wrestling fans and all IWC fans just hate Jey Uso, but that's just not true, because the negative posts will just organically move to the top of the chart because it is manufactured in a way for people's emotions to get stirred up and start arguing in comment sections. You're not going to see many positive things pop up on your recommended that everyone that'll go. Oh my goodness, I'm having a stroke, man. Why can't I do this? But you're not seeing a lot of happy-go-lucky posts because, you know, no one cares to interact with that. People are going to interact with, you know, the hate and the just engagement farm. It's so just amplified in such a way where you think, oh, this must be true now. Like with the Jey Uso thing I said earlier, people online said, my goodness, this guy's corny. He just goes out there and yeets all the time, which, you know, some of that I do agree with. There was a point where it got a little, you know, too much for me. But then you'd see people in the audience, they are losing their minds. They are doing this all over the place. So I do just want to say most of the stuff that you see, it is amplified. It is not actually reality. Most of it's just engagement farm and just trying to get you to, you know, look at the post for a long time and maybe make a comment and have 40 arguments in the comment section. The point of this video is, do wrestling fans fans complain too much. And to that I say, no, they do not complain too much, but it is amplified in a way where it makes it seems like they do. I will say they do complain too much if all you do is look at their feed and it's nothing but hate, and they have never said anything positive about anything, unless it's obviously like the edgy thing that nobody agrees with so they can get engagement farms. Unless it's someone's opinion, I'm fine with that, and you have the right to complain about whatever you want. I just have a problem with it when it is nothing but engagement farm. But when people say, oh, wrestling fans complain too much, brother, they have their opinions for a reason, and genuine people out there having their opinions for a reason, I am totally understanding of, even if I don't agree with those opinions. And sometimes I think some opinions are retarded, I must say. That is their opinion for a reason, so I don't think wrestling fans complain too much. They're just really passionate about what they are watching, and they want what they are watching to, hit the dopamine in their brain of, oh my goodness, this is the payoff I wanted. And sometimes when you don't get that, people complain, whether for the better or for the worse. That is circumcised. What? Why did I just say that? That just popped in my brain and I wanted to say it. But yeah, I just think it's amplified to a point where it seems like everyone is just complaining about everything, but that is just not the truth of it whatsoever. But yeah, tell me in the comments what you guys agree with and don't agree with. If I'm stupid, just say that in the comments, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll get an engagement farm going. How about that, Twitter? You take that. You take it, brother. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and in the comments below, tell me what types of videos you guys would like to see next, if you even care about my opinion on anything at all. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. God bless, and I'm out.